Question: how often do you collaborate with other professionals in your field? Do you ever struggle from feeling isolated? Annette is a former Catholic school teacher and current director of religious education. She says that as a former Catholic school teacher, no, she never really felt isolated in that role, but in her current role as a DRE, yes, she has suffered from feeling isolated, and that's partly because she has no predecessors. She's the first DRE in the school, so she finds it hard to connect with other professionals in her direct area. My recommendation for Annette would be to turn to technology, which I did talk to her about in a later question, and I would suggest that she form more e-partnerships and to use the internet and today's social media to search for groups with other DREs, maybe even in the tri-state area. Question: how do you best demonstrate your own personal commitment to collaboration? Sydney, a special needs therapist, says, I always collaborate with my team by hearing the needs and wants of the family first. Their input is what matters most, so I demonstrate my personal commitment to students by being respectful to their family's needs. Page 22 of our text says, the first component of the study of collaboration concerns your personal commitment to collaboration as a tool for carrying out the responsibilities of your job, including your beliefs about the benefits of working closely with colleagues and parents/families, and the added value of learning from others' perspectives. I think Sydney beautifully answered this question by illustrating her own personal commitment to her job by saying that she puts the wants and needs of her family first, and then uses that assessment to best provide programs and services to her students. Sydney has her own interpersonal style that as a professional she can use in her interactions to help identify a mutual goal and increase the benefits of the collaboration she has with her family. Isabella, a first grade teacher, answers this question by saying, I believe that I am only one person, and while I love my job, I cannot do everything all on my own. It's in the best interest of my students, and it's also in my best interest that I'm open to communication with my co-teachers and the students' parents and service providers. My co-teachers and I plan together to ensure that our lessons, routines, procedures, and classroom structure meets the needs of all of our students. I keep an honest, open line of communication with my parents, and during IEP meetings, I look to our related service providers to give input on how we can best support our students in the regular education classroom environment. I think both Isabella and Sydney are following best practice in their own personal commitment. They're opening their lines of communication to both students and their families and other service providers to best meet the needs of their students and reach an overall goal. Question: how have societal trends such as the increased use of internet and social media affected your style of collaboration? Dominic, a 7th grade math teacher, says especially now with COVID-19 being home, I have found that I discuss and share ideas via Facebook groups with teachers. I also make sure I never share a student name or give specific details, as I abide by the FERPA laws. Isabella, 1st grade teacher, says the use of internet and social media has strengthened everyone's ability to share resources, especially now with virtual learning. Often, my team and I are messaging off the clock, brainstorming ideas, and sending each other links. We use Google Drive to share lessons and resources. It's also so easy to just tag your friends when you're seeing something cool happening in the education world on Facebook too. In terms of recommendations and suggestions, I would say that Isabella and Dominic are both using best practice when it comes to social media. I do know these educators personally. I know that they're millennials, so they have no problem adapting to today's societal trends when it comes to being digitally savvy. So I really applaud them in their efforts, especially during this time of the pandemic, where they're able to go online, collaborate with other teachers, and share their own resources. Question: what resources do you seek to collaborate with to best meet the needs of your student, and in what cases do you do so? Our text on page 10 says a sense of community evolves from collaboration, and I really believe that this is the case here. Quote, we collaborate a lot with the Bucks County Intermediate Unit. For our students with behavior needs, they may come in to conduct an FBA, Functional Behavior Assessment, and may provide a positive behavioral support plan. I find it helpful to have them come in as an outside perspective and give input on how to best support the student. Additionally, we may collaborate with outside behavioral agencies that provide wrap-around services for our students. I think Miss Amy is following best practice here as she has many years of experience in the special education industry. She does seek to collaborate outside of her school in a more societal context as she reaches out to the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, for example, to best meet the needs of her students. Question: throughout your career, have you ever experienced any challenges when sharing your resources? Miss Amy says, sharing resources has been an issue for me when I've worked with teachers who do not value organization in the same way that I do. In Miss Amy's case, I may recommend that she take a look at the interpersonal style that she's using to communicate with and maybe adjust that to the team in which she belongs, so that she's able to express how much that she values organization and how respecting that value is important to her. Annette Baird says, yes, one time I made sight word cards. My grade partner borrowed them, but I never got them back. I decided that it's better to not pick a fight and ask for them back over and over. After all, I had a great relationship with my grade partner and I didn't want to ruin it. Dominic, 7th grade teacher, had a different take on this question. He said, I have had many experiences with teachers who have been in the school district for many years, who look at me as, quote, new and unexperienced, end quote, and are not open to my opinions or ideas. Usually, by mid to late year, they realize my potential, ability, and ideas. When our text talks about shared resources and shared responsibility, it's recommended in our text on page 8 that it's helpful to distinguish between responsibility for completing tasks and the responsibility for decision making. Then, once these are established, you're able to participate more equally towards the overall goal. Miss Garnett says, as a paraprofessional, I have experienced many challenges when trying to provide my resources to the people who I encounter. My age and my race are two big factors, because certain people believe that I do not have enough experience working in this field. I find that I need a whole lot of patience and determination when trying to share my resources. I am hoping that now, as I am offered a position as a special education teacher, I hope I am able to gain more respect from other colleagues. My recommendation for both Dominic and Miss Garnett would be to have an open conversation with the veteran members of their school district or any colleagues that they feel like they've been overlooked by. I would encourage them to share the fact that when school professionals work together, student outcomes will improve and teachers will gain increased knowledge and skills.